Alright, I'm gonna make this quick because I had to move my fan out of the way. Yeah, I have like this weird desk thing. I don't know what to call it. It's not an actual desk. I don't know what's called. Like I said, I think it might be like some kind of table thing. But yeah, world's smallest Bop-A Extreme came in the mail, as you guys saw with that short video that I uploaded yesterday. And I'm gonna make an actual review on it this time. I promised that was in development. And, well, here we are. And I do want to do a quick side-by-side comparison, obviously. World's smallest Bop-A. Compared to, like I said, the world's smallest Bop-A Extreme. And one thing that's interesting is that the I on the word extreme, on the word it's for Bop-A, has a little dot above it. The original world's smallest Bop-A didn't. I'm not sure if that's a reference to the Unibop / the Bop-A button, because that has that. Well, specifically I think it's called the Legacy version, has that. But yes, world's smallest Extreme. So, I want to go over some other things that I noticed when I was messing around with this thing, because like I said, both in that video and in that post, at least I think I did, I have to break this thing in just to get acquainted with it. I mean, I know I'm familiar with Bop-A, obviously, but like, I feel like the keychains, carabiners, game pens, which, yes, those were a thing. There were only 2 of them for the original and the Extreme. And, well, obviously the world's smallest ones, they tend to be a lot more difficult to get used to because of their size, their very small size. And speaking of, I'm not entirely sure, and I don't have one on me as reference, which is kind of frustrating, but I think the arms, as I call them, these right here, were a bit more spaced apart with the keychain and even the game pen that came out at the time. It's kind of interesting to see it like this small, basically. But as for the aesthetic overall, it's clearly based off of the original Extreme, as you can see. The Bopjects, they're pretty spot on in terms of accuracy, except for pull it. I don't like how it's just kind of casually sticking out like that. Not only does it look uncanny, but something tells me that it could easily snap off. Also, pardon that's just someone revving the engine on their motorcycle because stupid. And then there's this. So with Twist It, it's not, I don't know if I'd call it springy, but actually, going back to the original world's smallest, I keep it in my shorts pocket right now, back to the original world's smallest, the Twist It didn't do that, so I'm not sure if that's a reference to, I believe, the original Bop-A Extreme keychain, and I think even the Bop-A Extreme 2 keychain had Twist It like this. Flick It is very, very springy. You can't hear it all that well. It's something that I noticed when I was more or less looking at the game really close up because of its small size. I have poor vision after all. Spin It it's not loose, obviously, and that's intentional because of, the sheer small size of the Bopject itself. And obviously, that's a very, very impressive button. And it responds quite fine. Everything responds quite fine. But what's very interesting is this. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's up with that. It's not a problem, mind you. It's kind of strange. But it reminds me of, with the Extreme 2 keychain, how they captured the different color trims, like green on this side and yellow on that side. Kind of reminds me of that. I'm not entirely sure if that's intentional, though, like I said. So as for the actual gameplay and functionality and whatnot, obviously it's based off of the original Extreme. However, and I was told this in passing before I even got my hands on one, and this might actually disappoint people depending on what you think.
Solo.
Yes, it has the programming and sound and voice of the XT and the Classic. But also, you know what that means?
Facet. Party.
Hold on.
One-on-one. Solo. Expert. Master. Pro.
Yep, it has that little exploit thing, whatever you want to call it.
Blasting. Quiet. Loud. Blasting.
This is going to be a very fascinating game because...
Party. Solo.
Check this out.
Pro. Do 3 at a time.
Oh, wait, hold on. I thought it was back to Novice.
Twist it. Pull it.
Let me fix that.
Go.
Hold on.
Oh. Dude.
Seriously? Come on. I love that line. Surprisingly loud for how small it is, by the way.
Facet. Party. Solo. Novice.
There we go. Novice. But here's what I wanted to point out.
High score. 100. Twist it. Flick it. Pull it. Twist it. Spin it. Flick it. Spin it. Oh! You can do this. Score 6.
Wait for the game to shut down before I talk again.
Bop it to start. I'm going to sleep.
So, a few things. First of all, like I said, it's quite loud, even on blasting, heck, even on quiet, which yes, I tested all 3 volume levels before I recorded the video. Secondly, you probably noticed that it's actually quite slow. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure as to why, but it's probably one of the slowest, if not the slowest, games of Bop-It you will ever play. And whether or not that's a good or bad thing depends on who you are. Like, for example, I'm obviously a hardcore Bop-It fan, and I find it more or less, I guess, interesting than anything else. I'm guessing it's because of how small the game unit itself is, which is probably leading to, I'm guessing, a small computer chip or whatever inside there. Well, then again, that argument wouldn't hold much water because the world's smallest had the exact same programming as the Micro and the Bop-It Classic, so I'm not sure. I think it might have very similar programming to, of all things, the Bop-It XT Carabiner, which there's actually something that I have to point out because I don't think I ever mentioned it on camera, although someone else probably covered it somewhere. But yeah, the XT Carabiner is actually kind of infamous because it has a glitch that actually prevents you from finishing the game on Pro. So a lot of people basically clear Novice, Expert, Master, and avoid Pro, and then, you know, they say that they clear the game 100%. That's basically what we do. But yeah, the musical beat sounds a lot like the one from the XT Carabiner, actually. As I mentioned, it's very slow. But another thing, and this was really surprising, like very, very surprising, and I'm going to need some help with this in the comments, but they broke tradition for some reason. And by that I mean there's no set pattern anymore, which might be a reference to the original Extreme, like every Bop-It game up until oh my god, what was it? The Bop-It Shout from 2008, which, by the way, that name is kind of confusing now because we have a Bop-It card game called Bop-It Shout, but I digress. That was the first one that set the Bop-It Twisted Pull It pattern when you first started up the game. But yeah, with the world's smallest Bop-It Extreme, it's back to being RNG focused now. I think this is the first one ever since to actually go back to being randomized. I'm excluding things like, say, Bop-It Tetris, or the mode, I forget which mode exactly, from Bop-It New Moves, or Bop-It Beats, or Bop-It Smash. Bop-It Smash in particular is very, very RNG focused. No, I'm talking about like the core series. I know I mentioned New Moves just now, but like the core series in general, ignoring specific modes. I think the world's smallest Extreme right here is the first one to actually go back to the way it was originally with, you know, RNG focused gameplay. Kind of fascinating. But yeah, as a hardcore Bop-It fan, this is definitely an interesting one because, put it this way, When the Bop-A Extreme Classic, which I did make a video on, if I can, I'll like try and pin it in the comments or something. When that came out, everybody, myself included, was rejoicing because it took so long for us to get another Extreme. The very last one we got was what, the XT, and I think was it 2011 or 2010. And then, well, spoilers, but these guys took over. That's not every single one of them, but it is actually a really nice view of how I keep them all on my windowsill. The characters took over for a long period of time and basically devoured Bop-It's reputation for a while, with, once again, the exception of the Extreme Classic sneaking its way in, which was very awesome. Like, I was especially hyped for that, and it still is arguably my favorite incarnation of Bop Extreme. And this right here, for the record, is a close second. Just wanted to point it out. Explicitly because of how small it is. It is adorable. So yeah, just thought I'd give my overall thoughts on the game. You know, give my overall opinions and how I feel about the way it controls and sounds and all that. And thank you very much for watching. This is Sir Bop-A signing out.